Heute liegt mal wieder was vor der Werkbank, was mit Drechseln zu tun hat. Und damit kenne ich mich ja jetzt nicht so super gut aus. Und darum habe ich hier jemanden von Record Power bei uns in der Werkstatt. So, welcome.
Hi.
You can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Craig from Record Power. What we've come here today is just try and explain to you the range of Oak and Falcon sensors that we've got and go through them and give you an idea of when to use them and how to use them.
Yeah, really nice because I always get very confused.
It can be confusing because there's that much of a range, and obviously the different permutations that you can use on different timbers and different size timbers. It's nice to go through the range and just actually see what each one of these actually does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start at the sort of left-hand side and work our way through up to the revolving centres. So we're going to start on the four-prong drive, which is options of 16mm and 22mm. Now this is the traditional method of wood turning. I'll just open these up just to show you one. Obviously you can see there's a four-prong drive, so there's 4 drives on that. This is a number 2 Morse taper to slide straight in to your lathe, and you can see the centre. So what normally happens with this traditionally is you'd find the centre on the timber and then you actually drive the centre into it with a wooden mallet, so you're not damaging the ends of this. But you can see there that there's actually we've gone a reduced size on that, so if you did get a little burr on there in time, it still doesn't affect the taper which is connecting into the barrel of the drive or the headstock. But obviously there's a limit. If you get to a certain size, this will become a bit too small, and there is every chance if you overload it or take too big a cut that it might drive through these. So because of that, these are the next option which we'll go on to. So we'll go across to the 6-point or the 6 drive on this one, and just to show you on this again, there's 3 options available on this. So now you can see as you count round there, so we're going 32, 22 and 16. So this is the 32 one, which is an ideal one really. If you're starting a bowl blank off, you can actually drill into your timber, do a recess of 32mm, then you drive this into there, and it gives you more load than the 4-prong to actually drive through and give you more grip. Same machine practices there, where a number 2 Morse taper, but you can see there we've got the other options as well. So that's the 6 drive on that one, so we've jumped up from a 4 to a 6. But obviously things are moving on all the time and we're trying to make improvements every time we do that. So then we move on to the multi-tooth. There's 4 options on this one. Where you go from 32 again, 22, 16 and down to 10mm. We've shown you the 32 before. If I just show you the smaller version of this, this is a multi-tooth. You can see the configuration of that, so you're getting a lot more drive on there and a lot more drive points. And what the centre's doing is just giving you the location, so it makes sure that we're actually going into the centre and it drives through into the location and then picks up on all the points. So if you take that as a reference and we go back to the larger one, so it's easier for the camera to pick up, you can see there the engineering practice that's gone into that. They're all clearly a nice tooth that's going to drive in with a fixed point to get your centre, and then it picks up. But the advantage of this is if you're doing a little bit of laminate work, as in a jointing work, obviously the centre drives into where the laminate is, but the points will actually keep that drawn in, so it's not going to split the timber. But the point is still proud on that one. So on your heavy timbers and your hard woods, this is ideal to go in and drive through. And again, there's the full range of the 4 centres. But then, again, as things move on, we're starting to get clever. We're going with the same range of multi-tooth drives, but what we've done on this, and again, I'll pick the one up, and you can see the technique's exactly the same and the same sort of drive. But the advantage we've got on this now is we've got a sprung centre. So it really does work with your laminates, because this is adjustable. If you turn that round, in there what you'll see is a grub screw. So you put the Allen key in there and we can actually adjust the tension of the spring. So if you're doing soft woods or hard woods, it can be adjusted to suit. If you want to just get close in on the desk on there, I don't know if that'll pick up, we can actually, you can see the pin actually sink back in. It's going to just be used to actually locate the centre. Then the drives are going to come in. So especially with the laminates on this, it's not going to interfere with it at all, and it's going to keep them two pieces that you've glued together nicely gripped on the machining surface that you can see. So all this range that we've got, help with the headstock end of the lathe, and it's going to drive all the timbers that you've got. Then how do we support this? We've got to go to the tailstock end. So again, traditionally, you've got the drive centre, which is heavy duty bearings with a taper there, and it picks up on the centre of the timber, and this rotates round. So you've got the prongs, 4-prong, 6-prong, multi-tooth, all driving the timber round, and this is genuinely just going to give you the support that you require. But obviously, as you're pushing in there, the taper of it's going to pick up on the timber. But there is every chance you're going to get that little bit of movement on your timbers because of the angle of it, and you're going to sort of get a little bit of vibration through. So that's why the next stage of that would be to give you a ring centre on a drive. Now a lot of people do like these because we've got the centre that you require to start with on the traditional, but then we've got this tapered ring. So once the centre's in there and it's made an indentation into the timber, the ring's going to pick it up. So you've got a bigger surface area that's going to contact the timber that's actually going to give you more support. So it's going to stop that vibration and give you a lot smoother finish on your timbers. But again, how do we improve on that? What we do then is we come to the newest range that we've got, which are the drive centres, but with a multi-tooth. Now, I'll pick the biggest one up, which is the 32mm. Now, the advantage of these are all the same sizes of the drives. So you imagine you've got a table leg. What we can do is we can pick the 32mm up from the drive. So now we're really starting to support that timber. We've got a 32mm drive from the headstock end, but we've also got the 32mm support, multi-tooth and sprung, again, on there. So the centre gives you the contact. We can adjust that contact in the back end of that with the Allen key, whether it's softwood or hardwoods, to give you that support that you require. But when the actual tailstock pushes into the timber, you've got the multi-tool drive on that. So you gain the diameter support that's going to stop any vibration. At the end of the day, that's going to give you the best support possible from both ends of the actual lathe. And again, we do that in the full range of 4, from the 10mm up to the 32mm, with the heavy duty bearings, number 2 Morse taper. So one of the projects you might like to do, if you've got a ball blank that you're looking to clean up and true, and you've got quite a few to do, one of the quickest methods we can use, we've got a 32mm or 1.25" bit, and we've just drilled or made a recess in there for it to sit in, for it to be nice and safe. What we can do then is just number 2 Morse taper straight into the centre, and this picks up. We make sure this is nice and clean inside so that we're keeping this surface true. We can drive that in. Then we can you can see what will happen is, as this enters, then it'll go in and the drives will pick up, but the centre will compress, same as on the other end, but we're going to come in from the back with the revolving centre. You can bring that up and you can feel the compression on there as it drives in, and then we can just bring the tailstock up, lock in place, release, And as we put the pressure on, just one quick method of holding the wood in place. What we're going to do now is move on again. We're still going to give you that support on a tailstock, but the advantage of this is what we've tried to do is give you a kit to help you along. Now, again, this is the main drive part. Number 2 Morse taper. You can see the heavy built bearings on there that give you support. You can just use this as a ring centre and support on, but obviously you're not going to find the centre unless it's already there. So if you put the first tip in, you can see the ring on there. These pop in and actually become nice and secure, and you'll hear that connect in, which is a lovely way of doing that, and it actually gives you the engineering practice. If you feel that all the way around nice and smooth, everything's centralised, like I said, heavy duty bearing, and that way you've got the traditional sort of tailstock centre. Now obviously the idea behind this is it's a kit, so if you just put that down for a minute, you get 2 bars in with this. These join together. What that allows you to do then, don't forget this is normally sitting in the tailstock, they just drive through, just one tap, and we'll knock that centre out. We can put that back in now, and what we've done is we've given you another centre, but what we've done, we've extended this centre on this one, and again you can see the O-ring, that'll push in, and listen to this, a nice click in there, nice and secure. So you've got the revolving centre again on the tailstock, but because we've sort of elongated this and given you a longer stem, it allows you to get in the back end of the timber without catching on the revolving centre itself. So it allows you to get in the back there with your tools, and it's not going to impede you. So that's the idea behind that one. Again, just a quick knock, we can remove that, just drop that back in, and then we've got a multi-tool centre. We drop that one in. Again, nicely fitting. You've got the multi-tooth drive, we've got the location now to get it on the centre of the timber. Again, for your laminate work, it's going to give you the drive, and you can see the machining on them. Nice and even all the way around to give you that drive, so you're going to be driving from your headstock into your tailstock, giving you that support. And then the last one on this one will be for the pen mandrel. So if you've got the pens, lots of pens to be done, we can put that in. You put your pen mandrel in your drive of your headstock, that goes through, and the bore on there will allow it to be, you push your tailstock up, it gives you the support and traps the 2 pieces of timber on your pen, so you're not actually having to tighten the nut up every time and loosen it back off. So it gives you easy access to take your pens on and off the pen mandrel. So that's the full kit. What you can see there is the 4 centres. We put them back in, nice and neat. The 4 different centres, the tailstock drive itself, and then the 2 bars that screw together to knock that out, which presents you with a nice kit to get you up and running and does a multitude of jobs. We can just release the drive, we've still got the machine running. You can have a look what we're doing, and then we can go again.